McDonald's workers, what's the craziest story happened in your McDonald's? This was about 10 years ago, back when the McDonald's I worked at still had the old heavy push-pull glass doors instead of the automatic sliding ones. It was a slow afternoon, the kind where you could hear the hum of the fryers over the quiet murmur of a couple of customers. I was out in the lobby wiping tables and sweeping, trying to look busy until the next rush. The front doors opened, and in came a man in an electric wheelchair. He was a paraplegic, probably in his 40s with a baseball cap pulled low. He rolled himself up to the counter where my manager, Tom, was working the register. I didn't catch the very beginning of their conversation, but I started paying attention when the man's voice got louder. He was telling Tom that our door had injured his leg when he was trying to get inside. He said it was too heavy, too hard to maneuver, and that in the process of pushing through, he'd hurt himself. Tom immediately offered him water and asked if he wanted medical help. He said we could call an ambulance or get a first aid kit, whichever he preferred. The man waved that off and said he didn't need that. What he wanted was free food to make up for it. Tom stayed calm, didn't get defensive. He told him he was sorry about the door and again offered to call someone to look at his injury. The man refused, sticking to his demand for free food. He kept saying it was the least we could do after the damage our restaurant caused. By now, I was standing off to the side, rag in hand, pretending to wipe a table while I listened. I'd worked there long enough to know Tom wasn't going to give away food unless it was for a good reason, and this guy's story wasn't lining up. For one thing, I had been in the lobby when he came in. I never saw him at the door. If he'd gotten hurt badly enough to make a scene about it, you'd think he would have called out right away. Tom tried a few more times, offering to get a chair, offering to call emergency services, anything that wasn't a free Big Mac. The guy just kept going in circles, refusing all help except the compensation he wanted. Finally, Tom said, "Sir, if you're saying you're injured and you're refusing help, I'm going to have to call the authorities so we can make sure you're okay." The change in the man's demeanor was instant. He didn't get angry. He just backed up his wheelchair, muttered something under his breath, and headed for the door on the opposite side of the building from where he'd come in. That's when I noticed something odd. If he'd hurt himself badly on the way in, you'd think going back through another heavy, non-automatic door would be a problem. But he zipped over, bumped the door with his chair, and with a little awkward shoving, managed to get it open on his own. Once he was outside, he straightened up a bit in his seat, adjusted his cap, and rolled quickly down the street without looking back. Tom turned to me and the grill guy, who had also been watching by this point, and just shook his head. "Some people," he said, and went back to the register. The whole thing couldn't have lasted more than 10 minutes, but it stuck with me. We'd had plenty of strange encounters. People trying to use expired coupons from 10 years ago, someone trying to pay in foreign currency, the occasional drunk at 2 a.m. But something about the way this guy bailed the second authorities were mentioned told you everything you needed to know about his injury. Later, one of the other employees said they'd seen him a few times at another fast food place down the street, pulling similar stunts. Always with some variation of, "Your place hurt me, give me free food." Whether it was the door, the counter, or a chair, he had a story ready. I guess it was just his way of getting lunch without paying for it. Still, I can't forget the image of him rolling out the door, suddenly a lot more mobile when he thought someone official might show up. One second, it was all about how badly he'd been hurt. The next, he was gone, cruising down the street like nothing had happened.